So let's get back to insurance. The Federal High Court late last year, by the way, ordered the Nigeria's insurance regulator, NICOM, to suspend the December 31st, 2020 deadline earlier set for all insurance firms in the country to recapitalize. But despite the court order, the insurance companies have continued with their various consolidation and recapitalization programs. And this includes business combination, change of leadership, among others. Kyari Bukar is my guest tonight to discuss this. Bukar is an economist and the chairman of Sunu Assurances PLC that just concluded a 3.01 billion shares sale via a private placement. Good evening, sir, and thank you for making it to the show.
Good evening, Bosun.
We appreciate your time. Insurance firms are fast and furious. You folks going through various routes, this consolidation. Tell us about some of this.
Yes, I think with the announcement by the major regulator, NICOM, that we must meet regulatory capital up to 5 billion by the end of last year, and I believe by September 2021 to hit a 10 billion naira capitalization. Of course, there are different categories of insurance firms, and this is for a group such as Sunu, that we basically made sure that we have exceeded that mark by having the private placement. And the private placement is actually taken by our major shareholder, which is Sunu Participation and Sunu Côte d'Ivoire. Combined, they injected additional 3 billion naira into the company by taking up those shares. Now, the game is that as of the end of last year, our Q4 had already been reported to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and the unaudited accounts basically is indicating an upside for us. Of course, we will wait for the release of those numbers, but it is quite exciting for shareholders. But again, because of that recapitalization requirement by NICOM, some companies are looking at mergers, some are being outrightly purchased by foreign investors or additional capital injection. And we believe that with our strategy and being a part of an African-owned group, Sunu, Sunu, by the way, stands for our own in Jollof. Which is basically a company that had been in existence, and the chairman of the group, who had been in the insurance business for 50 years, have actually brought those experiences to bear. And we are in 15 African countries and have recently not only went into the English-speaking West Africa countries by acquiring Equity Assurance PLC, which has now been transformed into Sunu in Nigeria, Ghana, and Liberia. And therefore, the strategy and the values that the group has brought to bear are what we are going to execute on. And for the first time, we are seeing a profitable company in quite a long while. And we also intend to meet the 10 billion capitalization on or before the September 2021 deadline. I know that a lot of movements are going on, and for us, we are just going to focus on execution and grow the business, both the top line and also the bottom line, and be one amongst the top tier leading general insurance companies in the country.
Mr. Bukar, some of the consolidation, business combination, whatever adjustments, some big banks have spinned off their own insurance firms, like First Bank Holdings, for example. Has this strengthened the insurance industry? What does it mean?
I don't know what the thinking is, but for example, we've seen First Bank has divested completely, and it was the foreign investor that basically took up the shares of First Bank, and there had been a lot of bank assurance, which is more of partnerships and collaborations between insurance companies and certain banks. If you have used your mobile banking app these days, you would see appearance of insurance in your banking apps. So that to me is an indication that the banking sector is taking the insurance industry or insurance business seriously. Now, looking at what is happening, generally speaking, in the insurance business, and also the entry of some that are fairly new licenses that have been recently given out, you would see that some major players in the financial services industry have actually made for those plays. And the reason is very simple. Insurance penetration in Nigeria is still around 0.3% or thereabouts, whereas in many of our sister African countries, they are orders of magnitude larger. In fact, in a place like Cote d'Ivoire, it is somewhere in the neighborhood of, I believe, 2.5 or 3% penetration rate. And that basically means that the opportunity, the upside opportunity for insurance business in Nigeria is huge. The other thing that we're looking at is that not only us, but many of the insurance industries, they're also looking at how best to appeal to different cultural and religious nuances, such as takaful and some of the other products. All of those are all going to encourage the growth of penetration of the insurance business in the market. So I believe that's probably one of the reasons why you're seeing some interesting positioning by the banks vis-a-vis the insurance sector.
Bukar,
Yes.
I'm sure with your years of working in Nigeria and knowing the financial industry, banking license seems to be the sweetest thing that almost everybody wants to get, like an oil license, for example. But about insurance license, if new folks are getting new insurance license, that's like music, news to a whole lot of people. But again, you have the foreigners flocking into the country. What is in Nigeria, really, that insurance seems to be the new game in town or the next oil?
Indeed. What is happening is that there is a certain maturity of the other sector, which is the banking sector. Globally, in most parts of the developed world, it's the insurance that lead. Actually, they are the owners of banks, and most of the tall buildings in major metropolis across the world are owned by insurance companies. The reason is that insurance tend to get long-term money. For example, if one were a life insurance company, the premiums are long-term capital. So I think that excitement and the huge and immense opportunity that Nigeria presents are a combination of factors that I believe is making both the foreign investors to be interested, and as well as some of our titans or moguls decide to also jump into the fray. So essentially, it is an exciting place to be. And for us at Sunu, we have been executing. We are one of the most innovative insurance companies across the West Africa region, and we will put that mark in Nigeria as well.
We're going to talk a little bit more after the break, Kyari, about some of the big issues you want to focus on. For example, what's going to distinguish all of you now on the street, for example, what will distinguish? You talk a little bit about the takaful, but again, how does it all work, this non-interest banking? How will it work within the insurance space? Give me that in 1 minute.
Thank you.
Let's chat to the future of the Nigerian insurance sector when we return. Kyari Bukar, we'll take a 2 minute break and then we'll back. We'll talk about Nigeria's insurance sector consolidation and recapitalization program. We'll talk about that. Give us 2 minutes, everyone. Yeah, let's continue that insurance sector conversation. The sector in Nigeria is turning a corner. And if you're not on Market Street, most likely you're unaware of this development. My guest is still here in the studio, Kyari Bukar, former chairman of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group and the chairman of Sunu Assurance PLC, listed on the stock exchange. Thank you, Mr. Bukar. My question just before we went on break is that what is the differentiation, product differentiation that consumers, insurance consumers in Nigeria and across, let's say, West African region will be looking forward to? In particular, we're looking at the AFCFTA.
In fact, that is one of the key things that we're going to lean on as Sunu Assurance, because we are in 14 countries across the West Africa region. both in the French-speaking, of course, dominant in the French-speaking West Africa, and now the English-speaking West Africa, and essentially have been taking over certain larger European-based insurance outfits businesses because of recapitalization exercise in the French-speaking, in the CIMA region. I think it's publicly announced, and therefore it's one of those strategy whereby we know the market, we are closer to the people, and therefore new products, new initiatives, deployment of technology and innovativeness, and also above all respect for our staff and our colleagues and partners. And all of those are combined to be a key differentiator in the markets in which we operate. So particularly in Nigeria, we're going to deploy those same key strategic initiatives to grow the business and make it one of the most outstanding leaders in the insurance ecosystem within the country. But if a large ticket transaction comes along, we have a group that is quite widely in existence, well capitalized, and we would be sharing those deals. So essentially, insurance, which is one of the key pillars of the financial services, is the item that is lacking in Nigeria compared to some of our sister West African countries, or indeed even the whole continent. So AfCFTA, the Africa Free Trade, Continental Free Trade Agreement, is giving us an opportunity to be everywhere across the African continent. So essentially, you need to actually put on your seatbelts and wait for the kind of ride that we are going to have within the continent.
So how will it benefit the ordinary Nigerians? That's the question. The consolidation, there's this whole lot of habit about insurance, the uninsured Nigerians and businesses that are uninsured all over the place.
Indeed. In fact, one of the key things is that we need to bring the awareness of what insurance is to the average Nigerian, not only as an individuals and families, but also for small and medium enterprises, as well as the large corporations. Of course, the large corporations and government have been quite strong consumers of insurance products, but when you look at it from the perspective of family, it is a way for wealth building and wealth preservation. It is a strong mechanism for risk management when it comes to not only your personal wealth, but the wealth and welfare of your family, your children, and therefore it is something that level of awareness and the marketing campaign, both by the regulator and those of us that are in the industry, need to enhance that conversation with the potential consumers. I do believe that, as religiously strong as we are, and we give everything into the hand of God, we also need to take certain measures in and of by ourselves in protecting those wealth. And therefore, insurance becomes a key facet as one grows and evolves within that financial services life. I mean, you start with a savings account in school, go into checking account when you get employed, and then you start probably investing in the stock market. Before even you start investing in stock market, I would venture to say that you need to protect some of the assets you are acquiring, such as your car, your home, and then your life, of course, most importantly. And some aspects of insurance are mandatory, it's a law, but there are many aspects that people do not understand. For example, if you're traveling on holidays, of course, it is not the season for travels, I know, but if you're traveling, you can also have travel insurance, which would take care of many aspects should something untoward happens during those trips. So essentially what we're saying is that there is a need for greater awareness by the average Nigerian and small and medium enterprises particularly. And in so doing, we would be enhancing the economic development of the country by preserving and protecting the wealth of people and their assets as well.
We thank you so much for your insights this evening. Kyari Bukar, Chairman, Sunu Assurances PLC, and former Chairman of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group. Do have a great evening.
Thank you, Bassem.
Thank you very much.